Hi, welcome to week 3 of the November Art Journal Adventure Group prompt card. So today we're going to look at the color prompt card here, and it says secondary colors. So secondary colors are orange, purple, and green. So we're just going to use some variation of those in our journal page, and you can use just one, just two, or all three, definitely. But I would say try to limit yourself to these colors plus black, white, and gray. All right, so let's see what we can make with this. So I'm going to find a journal page. I think I want to do this page opposite a previous one that I'd done. And so we've got orange, purple, and green. I'm just going to leave that right up there at the top. And so I've got a few different paints. I decided I wanted to play with acrylic today. I haven't used acrylic paint in my journal like this in a little while, and I thought it might be fun. So we are going to play. So I've got 3 different colors of purple here. I've got 2 different greens. I have black and white because those can be used on their own just as values, or they can be used in these paints to make them brighter or darker or whatever. And then I did get some abandoned coral distress paint as a possible contrasting color, but you know, this is the purple, green, and orange combination. So I'm going to be mainly purple and green, and I think I might bring in a splash of orange, but we'll see how things go. I'm just going to kind of wing it and see what I get. Okay, so, and these are different brands. It doesn't matter. It could be any craft paint, any acrylic paint you have. It could be, you know, acrylic, liquid acrylic or ink or whatever, like whatever you have. If you want to play with acrylic paints, it can be in any form, any brand. It's just fun to kind of play with here once in a while in our book. So I am going to get a piece of paper to kind of protect what's going on the other pages, because I don't want to mess those pages up, but I definitely am probably going to be painting right to the edge. I also want to use my stencil today. I think the stencil will be great for what I'm going to do. I have these makeup sponges, actually literally right here, just cosmetic wedges they're called, and I was looking through my stash. I found them. They're a cool shape. They're like a triangle. They've got I guess a rectangle on one end, but you know, and you can use them in a lot of different ways. I thought this might be fun to try to use with the acrylic paint. You can definitely, of course, use paint brushes or palette knives or whatever. Credit cards, all those things are really fun to play with to create different sort of textures and brush strokes and things like that with your acrylic paint. So, all right, let's just get going. I'm just kind of thinking about, what do I want to make? How do I want it to look? I think I want to start with the background. Okay, I think this is what I'm going to do. I mean, I'm really totally winging it. All I planned was of what colors I was going to use. So I have no idea where this is going. So we're going to put some green out. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm using. Dylusions Sour Appletini paint. Okay, this one is Island Parrot. Okay, I think I'm going to need a little extra of that. That's pretty neon, but that's okay. It's going to be good. I love neon. This is Island Parrot, like I said. This one is nice and bright and lighter, quite a bit lighter. Okay, and what if I even have another green back here with a little bit of black in it, just to darken it up a tiny bit, so then I can have 3 shades of green. And this is from Paper Artsy. It's the Fresco Finish paint, and it's called Little Black Dress. So this is an amazing paint line as well. Amazing. So you see I just added a little bit. You can always add more, but it's not as easy to obviously take it out. So I'm just going to use the end of a paintbrush, and I'm going to mix it up. And I'm working on a glass mat here, but yeah, I want it to be a little bit darker than that. I'm going to shake this up a little bit more. But yeah, any kind of surface, or if you have a you know, palette paper, or if you have a plastic little craft palette with the wells in it, whatever you're using is great. That's a little bit more, and I think that's going to be great. Might be too dark. Yeah. See? That was way too much paint. But you saw that it was just a little bit of black. You don't need a lot of black. So let's add a little bit more green. I will use this for sure, so I'm not worried about it. I like that it's got a swirl to it. Okay, so that's a nice dark green. Okay, I think I might actually add a little bit of this. So what I'm doing here is just showing you, you can actually make your very own colors. You don't have to live with what you get out of the bottle. If you want something different, you just play around and mix it up and make it. And if you don't like what you've made, that's fine. It doesn't matter. You can just get rid of it and start over. Let's see how this looks. Oh, that's a nice, like a drab army kind of green. That's pretty. So, you know, it could get painted over, and that's okay. And there's that other green. And there's this lighter green. Very cool. Let's see, I kind of like this one. I like those two together more than that. So I might use these two to make my background, and maybe I'll use that other green for something else, or not at all. I don't know. So yeah, I think this is pretty cool. I'm going to use those two for a little bit and see what we do. Let's see. I want to use something unconventional, or you know, not just not a paintbrush. So I'm gonna grab some of this paint with a palette knife, and I'm just gonna scrape it on, just to start moving some color around, playing around, seeing what this is a little bend to it, which I did not know, and I'm not loving, but that's okay. We'll keep going. Okay, so I like this, but I do actually want to come in with a paintbrush for a minute, because I want to, well actually, hold on. First, let's get some of this lighter color and bring it in here and there. I'm going to flip this around so I can get right up to that edge. Oh, that's cool. Okay, I'm liking this better. I was thinking I wanted to do some cross hatching. I might still, but this is looking pretty cool. See, this is a bummer about this palette knife though, because it's a tiny bit bent at the end. Now I just made it worse the other way. Okay. And it's making it not be flat for me, so I can't, you know, do what I want to do. Okay. This is cool because I really wanted to be able to see both shades of green, but I also kind of wanted them to blend a little bit here and there and create an interesting, weird, you know, kind of texture. Okay, ooh, okay, I want more of the dark. Let's get some more dark going on here, because I have a plan. Something's forming in my brain right now. I think I have an idea, at least of the next step. I don't think I have beyond the next step, but that's kind of what I love about this. I really don't want to hit that other page. That is a great page all by itself. All right, get some of these edges. I don't want too much white space. Okay, so there, we just made a whole background using just a palette knife. I'll take this away for a sec so you can see. But isn't that cool? Very cool. Okay. Put this back in here. Protect my work. Okay. You want more scratches? You can definitely take the edge of your palette knife and scrape. Okay. That's really fun to do. That gives you some different kind of textures, and you can also then you know, you scrape a little bit and it makes little tiny ledges, like pools of ink or of paint, and then you can just flatten it back out. All right, how cool. I love this. I think this is fantastic. So now what I want to do is bring in my stencil. I'm going to make like a pattern background on top of this, because I think what I want to do is I want it to be like here. Let's see. I'm going to do like a flower vase. I think that'll be fun. I haven't done one of those in a while, and those are really fun to do, and they're easy. So let's see. I'm going to make a little ledge here so I know where I'm going. Okay? And I'm just putting a little paint on the edge of my palette knife so I can make that's where my table's going to be, and then my my vase will be here. Okay, you can even kind of draw it. Like, it's all going to get drawn over anyway. So then you give yourself a little outline, you know what I mean? And then maybe even lower. And then the flowers will be up here, the table. Okay, I like this. I have sort of an idea in my head where I want to go. So now this is going to be my wallpaper in the background for this. Okay, if I can get it out of here, maybe. There we go. Okay, and definitely this isn't dry yet. So I'm going to dry it first, but see, this is actually going to fit perfectly right in there, and I'm not going to have to move it around or add more, although I could, because that stencil was made to be able to, you know, overlay itself and create that even pattern all the way across, even on large pieces of paper or surfaces. Okay, so it is important when you're doing something like this to dry your layers, okay? Because if you don't dry your layer, and let's say we're going to put purple over top of this, you are going to get brown, because green and purple make brown. But because it's acrylic paint, when it dries, it's permanent forever, and it's not going to re-blend, you know? So if we put purple over this now, because it's dry, it's going to be purple, okay? So that's super important, especially when we're working with secondary colors, because they're all made from all of those primary colors mixed together in different groupings, and so one wrong move and too much blending, you're going to get some brown. Okay, so the next step is going to be making my background. Okay, so here we go. We've got my awesome new stencil, which I'm in love with, and we are going to make a cool, isn't this cool wallpaper? Very cool wallpaper. All right, I think I want it to be like monochrome. I think I want it to be, well, let's see. Do I want it to be this green? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that green really kind of clashes. I think I want it to be bright green. What do we think about that? Let's just try it. We can always change it. The beauty of acrylic paint too is that when it dries, it's permanent. That also means if you don't like it, you cover it up and you can cover it with another color, and it's no big deal. It's not going to cause any harm or troubles. All right, so I'm just going to do a section because I kind of want to see what it looks like and decide, am I going, you know, all the way here, or am I going to switch it up? So I don't mind that it's not super dark and opaque. Oh, maybe I do actually, though. I like that green. I wish it was more opaque. I do. So maybe I'm going to put a little bit more. Now, the more you do on here, the more, especially with this thinner paint, the more it's going to seep underneath. There is another way you could do this that I just thought of. I don't know if I can do it now because I've already gone the paint route. But you could take like a solvent ink, or like maybe like a Versafine Clair, I think could do a good job. And use a blender brush and go over it if you wanted to have really crisp lines. And then when it dries, you could cover it with clear gesso and then keep going, you know, and work over top of it some more. I think that could be really cool. I mean, I kind of want to try it now, but I've already started the paint route, so I'll try that another time if I don't forget. But maybe you guys should try it. If anyone has Versafine Clair, I think that would work better even than Stays On, because Stays On doesn't really like to be on a blender brush, you know what I mean? But this is going to work fine. It's going to be cool looking. If it's not dark enough or I don't like the color or whatever, I can just go over it with another color. But I do want to see it on the whole thing. But this is going to be a cool, wallpaper anyway, I think. Yeah, really cool. And as we add more stuff, it's going to, you know, get more definition and be really cool. Look at, I really love the way that turned out actually. It stands out pretty well. Better than I thought it would, so I'm happy. All right, real quick, this is acrylic paint, and you don't want to mess with that drying on your stencils. Well, actually, you know, honestly, just if it's just paint, it's not a big deal. I should have put that in my book. What was I thinking? Well, I can put this in my book. Anyway, yeah, just paint on your stencils is actually not a big deal. And acrylic paint really isn't a big deal because it's going to dry and it's never going to come off again. So I'm just getting some of the excess off, but even, you know, some of it that's left over is not a big deal. All right, but I am done with that stencil. One of the nice things about this type of paint, the Dylusions paint, because it is thinner, it dries super fast. So, which I think is why she has it that way, because she does art journaling. She wants her stuff to dry fast so you can keep going. So that's pretty cool. So, all right, so now we've got our wallpaper pretty much ready. We'll refine it as we go, maybe. Maybe it's fine the way it is. Okay. All right, so we've got our wallpaper ready. I'm ready to move on to the next step, which is, I'll start with the vase. Yeah, and I think I want the vase to be abandoned coral. I think having that pop of contrast be the vase might be pretty cool. It might suck too, so we'll just have to wait and see how that works out. Okay, for this I am going to use a paintbrush. Alright, so I'm going to grab a paintbrush here and just, let's see, we're going to go shorter. And it is thin paint, so we're going to have to do a couple coats here, but man, that looks really cool, holy moly. I'm doing a slightly different kind of vase. Just going to be a little bit more rounded than the ones I usually do. Not that I usually do this, but when I do it. Kind of like that idea, and I like having the swoopy, like, have it be a little swoopy like that. Wow, this color is so pretty on this green. This is why secondary colors work so well together too, because they are contrasting, you know. Yeah, they are contrasting, and they play off of each other really nicely. Okay, so you have to let this dry before you do the next coat. I'm just making sure I have a good shape, and I like the way it is. Some of it's going to get covered by flowers, possibly. I don't know. I think most of my flowers are going to be up here, but we'll see. I think that's pretty cool. So I'm going to leave that in the paint because I'm going to need a second coat. Let's see, but I'm going to start in with the purples. Now this is Dylusions Shimmer Paint in Funky Fuchsia. It's kind of a purpley. It's a purpley color. So I'm using that. So that's got shimmer in it, which is going to be fantastic. Let me put these greens over here because I'm kind of done with those for the most part, at least for now. Let's see, so we've got the Shimmering Fuchsia, can't live without that, and then I've got in the Paper Artsy, I have Purple Wine and Electric Violet. And I think the lighter color I'm going to add some white to, so I can have three like main purples, and then that shimmer one I'm just gonna, you know, add little touches here and there because the shimmer will be beautiful. So I'm going to do a dot of that, and then a second dot of it because I want to put a little bit of white. I really want to have a nice lighter purple to put with that. Okay, so I am going to use this paintbrush for now. I'm going to use the brush side of it. Excuse me. And I want this to lighten up pretty well. So there, I can even just use half of that. There, that's a really good light color. We're not going to use that color right away, but that's a good light color. So actually, let's go back to the dark, pick some up, and all right, let's just start making flowers. So when I'm doing this, I really want more dark right now. having the light in there is helpful though, because you know, you go dark really for the background, and then you go medium, and don't bother cleaning your brush or anything, and you just kind of make commas around, and then when you get to the middle you've got it a little bit brighter. Okay, and then just let it dry. It's just going to look like a circle with some weird little splotches in it for a bit. Let me show you up close so you can kind of get a little bit of an idea of where that's going. And I'm just going to keep doing this in different spots over and over, and then you can decide how big or small those flowers are going to be. And if you feel like you've got too much paint loaded up on your brush, just kind of on your palette, wipe off a little bit, and then you can add some of that lighter color in the middle. And even if you feel like you're not getting enough light in the middle right away, we can go over a second coat later on and add some more highlights in. Okay, so then just go back to your dark. Let's do a fairly decent sized one here. All right, I want darkness back here. Keep getting light. That's okay. It's pretty. Sure is pretty. Okay. I like that. All right, let's do a little one down here. And I just keep making commas until it's the shape I want. And yep. Okay. And then we'll put another one here. And I'm just doing purple, I think. Since we have just these three colors to work with, it's nice sometimes just to have a one color bouquet. I'm thinking about adding a little bit of, so that orange isn't quite dry yet, and I started to put a flower on top, and that color, if it mixes too much, we're going to be in trouble, so I'm going to leave that be. But what I was just thinking was I might add some of this coral as little dots of flowers, like as filler, you know, in between here and there. But I really want the focus for that to be here. But drawing your eye up a little bit and having a little bit of that up here and there will be nice also. Okay. I think I need a little bit more of the purple wine by itself. Whoops. That's funny. Okay. That purple wine is such a pretty color. Just a tiny bit more. And I'm not gonna clean my brush with water, but I'm just gonna wipe it with my paper towel to get some of that lighter color off, because I really want some more of the darker color, and I'm having trouble because I keep getting lighter color in between. So now I'm going to start overlapping flowers, because I don't want a bunch of holes in my bouquet, right? We just want a bunch of flowers. And it's okay if you just start with making these, you know, just start with your darkest color, like I'm doing now, and only have the dark color, because we can do these in layers, you know. If sometimes you're feeling like toward the end I was getting just way too much of the light and not enough dark as the base, you really want a good dark base so you can build on those shades and get some good depth. Okay? All right, maybe I'll have one down here. Out here. And you can make this as full or as sparse and simple as you want. Nice. You know, you could have one or two real big flowers, maybe three, you know, and then a bunch of little ones around it. You could have a bunch of little ones and no big ones. This is your flower vase, and you get to do whatever you want with it. Okay, so I think I'm good. I have lots of flowers, and I'm loving it. Okay, and then I do think I want one more down here, but I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. Am I ready? Not quite. I'm going to do it very gently and quickly. There we go. I do like having them overlap the vase a little bit. It just adds a little more dimension, makes it look kind of more real, I guess, or something. Okay. I think I'm good. I don't want any more. Okay, so now we're going to dry this, and we're going to go back over it. Okay, So before we go back to purple, I do want to get my other layer of coral in here. And now I have to work around flowers, but that's no big deal. And this is just going to make it more opaque, right? And then we do want to add a little bit of shading to this. You can do it later. You don't have to do it now. I'm just kind of going around this, but I'm not being too careful about the flowers because I can always go back over where I'm putting this color, this coral color, you know, and reshape my flowers. All right. Remember, acrylic paint is very forgiving, and you can really do whatever you want and, you know, keep covering over it and keep changing it until you're happy. So you're never stuck with where you are in that layer. You can always change your mind. Okay, so now we got to decide where is our light coming from. I feel like for me it's coming from this way, so we're gonna have this side be lighter and this side be darker. Same thing with the flowers. All right, so I'm just gonna lay out a little bit of white paint on the side and a little bit of black. Okay, white and black, perfection. I'm not gonna clean my brush. I'm going to go into the white. I'm starting with the lighter first, okay? And I'm going to go off to the side here. And notice how it's mixing. All right. You can have some brighter white highlights in there. And that looks nice and, you know, kind of realistic. Okay, so there we have a lighter side. Actually, take a tiny bit more white and have a nice white. And you can even use your finger to kind of blend it out. Looks good to me. All right, and then we're going to go, I'm just going to wipe it with the paper towel. I don't want to get my brush wet necessarily. I'm going to go with the black side, and I'm going to do this on this side. You don't need a lot of black. As you can see, I'm going to flip it over so it's easier for me to work on. And then I'm going to grab a little bit more of this, and we're just going to blend it. We want like a grayish color because this is really kind of in darkness. Okay, so we just want to tone down this side. Doesn't need to be black. Just have a little shadow. Okay. And then that can blend out. Okay, grab a little bit more and kind of smush it like that. Let me go back this way. Okay, and sometimes I like to just use my finger to bring it back out. Okay, and then you can use your finger to kind of blend it. Here we go. Nice. I think that looks great. All right, so then, did I just get paint everywhere? No. So let me use a different finger, and I'm going to just go into that coral, and I'm going in the middle. Okay. And I just want to make sure it blends on both sides and that we get that nice highlight. We get a little bit of shadow, and there we're looking pretty good so far. In painting, and especially acrylic painting, is all about layers and building up the shadow and the highlights and the dimension of it, because that gives it some dimension. Okay, so then, sorry, I was thinking. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the flowers. I'm done with this for now. I don't want that paint to dry in the brush or I'll ruin my brush. So we're going to put that away. Let's go back to the flowers. For the next layer, I want to add some of this shimmer. And I'm just kind of putting it in the middle. I don't want to go all the way to the edge because I want that dark edge there. But I am going in the middle, and then I'm going to go back over these with like the medium and light colors. But I just want to have some of this shimmer in here because, come on, it's just so pretty. It's so pretty. And it dries with shimmer, and who doesn't love shimmer? So, and it's fuchsia, so it's, you know, it's kind of required. So do you see these just look like blobs still? Like, I don't really have a flower yet. I just have a bunch of blobs, and it's fine. And even the ones where I have to reshape my flowers and I lost, you know, that shape from fixing the vase, it's fine. It's fine. We're working in layers. So no big deal. Okay. So now this is going to dry for a minute. This is drying. Let me think about what do I want to do here. I feel like because there's so much color and so much going on, I kind of want this to be black or gray or some gradient from, you know, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. I'm going to start with black, totally black, all by itself, and see how I like it. If I don't like it, I'll add white to it, but I think I want it to be neutral either way. So I'm going to start with this palette knife just because I'm covering a large area, and this doesn't make it stark black this way. You know, I can just start to get an idea of, you know, do I want this to be a darker value and neutral like this, or do I really want something different? And I don't have to, you know, oh, this palette knife is kind of driving me crazy. I think I have to get a different one. Yeah, I really think I like this black. And I can fix it up around the edges when I get there. You know, when we get to that point, this is just sort of like giving me an idea. Okay. Okay. I mean, I'm not done, but doesn't that already look better? I think that looks fantastic, actually. I like the scrapiness of it, but I do need to get, well, do I though? I don't know. Let's see. Can I just make a line here around the edge of it? Let's see. One of these times we're going to paint a whole painting with just a palette knife, and it's going to be awesome. It's really fun to do. If anyone does it, you should show the group because it is fun. You have to let go a little bit of control there too, which makes it even more exciting. So look at how I'm using the edge of this to kind of guide it, right? To give that, you know, defined sharp edge. Whoops, get a little bit more paint right there. There we go. And I didn't even need to use a brush. You can paint an entire painting with just a palette knife if you really want to. I'm going to get some more black. Whoops. And I'm going to throw it. Okay. Yep, I really like this. I think this is pretty cool. I like that some of the green is showing through. You know, it's not perfectly solid black, but it's pretty black. Come on. There we go. Okay. Pretty black, but not totally. Okay, I like that. Okay, now we're going to go back to the medium and the light. And I do have some white out here. I was going to add some, but I'm just going to pick up some of this white and mix it with this, that bit. That's a pretty good light purple, but I wouldn't mind even a little bit lighter. You want a pretty light, you want a nice dark, a good medium, and a really good light. Okay, so this is pretty good. Okay, here we go. Probably could even be lighter, but that's okay. So we're gonna go, so we've got a dark, we've got kind of a middle. That shimmer is still pretty dark. Let's start with the light and see how we like it, okay? Yeah, I think we need to go medium and light. Ah, there we go, and blend them. And we are covering some of that shimmer, and that's sad, but that's okay. So I'm just grabbing some of the middle, some of the light, so they're going to blend as we go, and it's okay if you have, you know, something in, like, you know, we're just adding some dimension here, making it, oh, that's big, okay. So I'm just kind of going like half circle, but not perfect and not totally lining up. Okay, and this is kind of a medium color. Okay. Okay, that's looking better. All right, I think, ooh, I want to take a little bit of the shimmer and just do a little smush in the middle. A little smush, like a part, almost a C shape, but not perfectly. While it's still wet, don't wait for it to dry. We're making your centers. Okay. Remember, these are just fun, sketchy flowers. You know, they don't have to be perfect or whatever. I think these are so cute. Okay, so I think I'm done with that part for now. Now, if you do feel like you have hard lines and you don't want them, you can always, you know, kind of blend them out. But you got to be careful because then you just keep going out and out and out. And it's okay to have these hard lines because it's really just the flower changing, you know. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Here's what we have so far. Fun, just slightly abstract flowers. Okay, next is what? We need stems. So now I think I'm done with purple, so I am going to put this in the water. I want to keep using this brush, but I don't want purple on it anymore. So that's the first time I'm going to water with the brush, and that is just so we can change colors. You could always just grab another brush, whatever works for you. Okay. All right. So now we're going to add some stems. I'm going to use this funky green that we never got to use. I don't want to waste it. And I think it's a good contrasting green for, it's not thick though. I mean, it's not opaque, but that's okay. So I just add a few little lines here and there because your flowers aren't floating in space, right? Yeah. This isn't the best paint for this though. It's very translucent. Oh yeah, we're gonna add, let's see, I'm gonna get a tiny bit more. I'm gonna put it in a different spot so it's kind of untouched by other colors. And we're gonna make, you know, little flower, like that. Okay, isn't this pretty? Little bunches of sprigs of flowers that might be in a vase. It's bringing us back to the vase color, and it's just tiny little bits here and there, and it looks so nice against that purple. You see? And then I'll bring some down here. I love this. This is so pretty. Okay, I think we're almost done actually. I am re-looking at this, and the black does feel a little bit dark for me. So I think what I want to do, and we need a little bit of shading there. So I'm going to clean off the edge of my palette knife. We're going to keep using the palette knife for that table area because I think it looks pretty cool. Let me get my brush in the water though so I can clean it. And so, okay, let me get, I don't know if I can move some white out of the way here. I don't want to waste it. Okay, let's get some fresh white. Get it on my palette knife. Excuse me. And so we're just going to come up from the top here a little bit. Okay. And then on the side, remember this is the light side of things. So we're going to get white and then we're going to scrape it across. Okay? And that's all we're going to do. We're not touching it with a brush ever. Okay? We're going to cut into this, give us a good hard edge. Ooh, we got some pink there. I don't really want pink there though. It looks cool, but it's not what I want. Okay, that's a lot. Okay, if you have too much, just dab it or wipe it off on your paper towel or whatever you're using. And yeah, this is just fun. This is just playing with light and shadow and scraping paint. Doesn't have to be perfect. How cool is that? It's kind of a lot. It's very cool though, but if you feel like it's too much and you're like, okay, I overdid it a little, I'm gonna come back with some black. Remember, you're never done until you're done. I think it looks kind of cool, but I'm gonna bring it in just a little bit. So you see I'm going the opposite direction now, and in the spots where they meet, I'm just gonna make a little bit of a gray area. So it's not so stark white to black. Maybe it's gonna be, you know, whoops, it's too much there. Okay, there we go. Okay. Yep, and then you can blend it out with your hand if you want. I think that looks super cool, actually. I like it. I'm going to leave it the way it is. I think it's pretty cool. Let me show you that scraping along the bottom. Isn't that so cool? Oh my gosh, I just want to do that to everything right now. It just looks really cool, and it was fun to do. It's fun to scrape the paper with paint with a palette knife. So, okay, let me dry this. Okay, we have to use the flower one. It just is what it is. The power of flowers. Maybe it's gonna go down here actually. Now that I'm doing it, I kind of feel like it should go down there. But we'll see. We could try it in both spots here. The power of flowers. I think that looks great right where it is. I'm just going to even stick it down and not even straighten it back out again. So there we go. There is our page. Wow, I love it. We used all secondary colors, orange, purple, and green, a variation of them. We used black and white to make shades and tones so we could add a little bit of depth here and there. And we used our awesome sticky quotes from Art by Marlene and the new stencil, Fantasy, to make our cool wallpaper background. I also really loved using a palette knife to scrape paint around. I highly encourage you to do that if you have one. Definitely really fun. Don't sweat the flowers, just make dark circles, put medium colored circles in between, and then put light colored circle on top, and you're good. You're fine. You're good to go. And you can have a really pretty picture with a vase here. So that is our color prompt for today. You know, I was just noticing, this was the week 2 prompt, I believe, on squares, and this is super simple. It's like a background, another stamp, some doodling, and words, and we were done. This one took a bit longer. We were painting, we're doing layers, you know, so there's no rules when it comes to making your art journal pages. They can take 5 minutes, or they can take, you know, a half an hour or even longer, and they can be super simple. They can be more in-depth and complicated. So it's whatever feels good to you in the moment when you're creating, whatever feels right. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I cannot wait to see your secondary color prompt, and you know, even if you choose to make something other than flowers, you don't have to use acrylic paint. Do whatever you want. I am so excited to see it. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Bye-bye.